If you think you need thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to start investing, let me be brutally honest, you've been sold a lie. Society, the media, and even some financial advisors want you to believe that wealth building requires a massive upfront sum. Waiting for that perfect moment is the surest way to remain stuck financially, quietly watching life pass by while opportunities grow for others. I know this because I started with almost nothing, not a trust fund, no inheritance, not even a safety net. I had a handful of dollars, a small allowance saved from odd jobs, and a firm belief that steady, intelligent decisions would multiply over time, and they did. That modest beginning became the foundation of long-term wealth, not through luck, but through careful choices, patience, and persistence. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't realize: you don't need a fat wallet to start building wealth. You need a sane mind, a willingness to learn, patience, and the courage to act, even when others hesitate. Think about it, even a small sum like $50 or $100 is enough to begin. That's like planting a tree. You don't wait until it can provide shade immediately. You plant it, water it consistently, and allow time to do its work. Eventually, it grows tall, strong, and enduring. That's exactly how wealth grows. Time is your greatest ally. Delaying the start is like throwing away years of free compounding, growth, and opportunity. The journey may seem intimidating at first. You might look at the stock market, the world of finance, or real estate and feel lost. That's natural. Everyone starts somewhere. But small, disciplined steps compound faster than you think. The goal isn't to get rich overnight. It's to build a life of financial independence steadily and reliably. Most people I meet are terrified of losing money. They dream of growth, of financial freedom, of retiring comfortably, but they are frozen by fear. Ironically, that fear is what causes them to lose the most. They hide their money in safe accounts, believing they are making smart choices. Meanwhile, inflation slowly eats away at their purchasing power, silently stealing their future. I see it all the time: hardworking people, ambitious professionals, parents doing their best for their families, yet financially insecure because their money is asleep. They chase trends, hot stocks, crypto fads, or flashy investment schemes, hoping for quick wins. They spend energy worrying instead of acting, and by the time they realize it, they've lost precious years. Some people say, "I'm too late. I'm too small. I don't know enough." Let me be blunt, none of these are real reasons not to start. You're not too late, you're not too small. But if you let fear dictate your choices, fear will become your reality. It will creep into every financial decision you make and slowly steal your future. Think of someone in their 30s, 40s, or 50s who never started investing because they felt unprepared. They watch peers slowly build wealth, buy homes, travel, retire comfortably, and they feel stuck. That could be you, or it could have been you. Fear is expensive. It's the costliest investment mistake of all. Even small decisions matter. A person saving $50 a week may think it's insignificant, yet that small habit, repeated consistently over decades, produces life-changing results. Meanwhile, waiting for the perfect opportunity or enough money to start results in nothing. Time, opportunity, and compounding will pass by. Here's what I've learned over more than 7 decades in business and investing: you don't need a fortune to start building wealth. You need a plan, patience, and the right mindset. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to start investing with as little as $100. Avoid the key mistakes beginners almost always make. Use a simple, stress-free framework to grow wealth steadily over time. Investing isn't about chasing quick wins or following hype. It's about consistency, discipline, and understanding how compounding works. That $100 you invest today, if treated wisely, can grow far beyond your imagination. And it's not luck. It's about decisions, patience, and learning from mistakes, both yours and others. Here's the promise: you don't need to wait. You don't need perfect timing, and you don't need to be a financial genius. You need the courage to act, the wisdom to avoid foolish mistakes, and the discipline to let time do its work. The sooner you start, the more powerful your results will be. Lesson 1: I stopped doing stupid things. When I was young, I made mistakes, many mistakes. I invested in businesses I didn't understand, chased excitement instead of value, and let emotion dictate my decisions. And yes, I lost money. Some of those losses were painful. Some were embarrassing. But everyone taught me a lesson that no book or seminar could. Once I bought a stock because everyone said it was friends, colleagues, even casual acquaintances were all talking about it. I ignored my own judgment, thinking I'd miss out on the next big thing. Within a year, the stock lost half its value. That loss wasn't just financial, it was educational. It taught me a lesson that has shaped every decision since. If you don't understand it, don't touch it. We live in an age of noise. Social media tips, financial newsletters, trending apps, all tempt you to chase what everyone else is chasing. Most people don't have the background or research to handle hype rationally. The result: panic, poor decisions, and money lost. Simple, thoughtful decisions almost always outperform frantic, complicated ones. Invest in what you understand. If it's confusing, walk away. Simplicity beats complexity nearly every time. Knowledge protects you from loss, and discipline ensures that your small steps add up to something meaningful over time. Lesson 2E. I focus on patience, not luck. Beginners often look for instant results. They buy hope and panic at the first dip. This is gambling, not investing. True wealth grows quietly, steadily, and sometimes invisibly. It compounds over decades, not days. Decades ago, I bought a small, unglamorous insurance company. At first, most people thought it was boring, but I focused on the long term. I held on, reinvested earnings, and let time do its work. 20 years later, that modest investment had multiplied many times over. Patience turned what seemed small and boring into substantial wealth. Time is the most powerful tool an investor has. Patience allows you to ride volatility, benefit from compounding, and take advantage of opportunities when others panic. Instant results are rare. Lasting wealth requires discipline and time, not luck. Commit for the long haul. Invest consistently, even small amounts. Time works for you, not against you. Patience is the most undervalued skill in investing and the most rewarding. Lesson 3. I make my money work harder than I do. Saving money is important, but saving alone will not make you wealthy. Your 100 sitting idly in a savings account is not growing. It's shrinking in value because of inflation and lost opportunity. Money is a tool, and like any tool, it only works if used properly. Every dollar can be made to work for you if deployed intelligently. When I first started, I had exactly 100 to my name. I could have spent it on something trivial, a flashy gadget, a meal out, or even a lottery ticket, but I made a different choice. I invested it in a small business I understood. That 100 wasn't just money, it was a seed. I nurtured it with careful decisions, patience, and a focus on long-term growth. Over time, it opened doors to larger investments and opportunities I couldn't have imagined. The lesson here is crucial. Every dollar should have a job. Money sitting idle loses power. Inflation quietly eats away its value, and even the safest accounts can't protect it. Invest in what you understand, monitor your investments, and allow compounding to do the heavy lifting. The compounding effect multiplies returns, turning modest sums into life-changing wealth over decades. Example: imagine investing 100 every month for 30 years in a low-cost, well-chosen fund averaging a 10% annual return. That small, consistent habit grows to hundreds of thousands of dollars without any magic, luck, or enormous capital. Small investments deployed wisely are surprisingly powerful. Treat your money like a trusted employee. Give it a role, monitor it, and let it work for you consistently. Small, smart, and disciplined investments compound faster than sporadic, large bets. Lesson 4. I protect myself from stupidity and fear. The biggest risk in investing isn't the market, it's your own behavior. Panic, envy, and impulsiveness destroy more wealth than any market crash ever could. Protecting yourself from poor decisions, irrational fear, and impulsive behavior is the single most important skill an investor can develop. During the 1973-74 market crash, panic was everywhere. Investors sold at the bottom, convinced that the financial world was collapsing. I, however, stayed calm. I focused on fundamentals, studied undervalued companies, and ignored the crowd's fear. What looked like disaster became opportunity. That experience taught me the immense value of controlling emotion in investing. Humans are predictable, markets are volatile. Most investors make mistakes not because the market moves against them, but because they move against themselves. Fear can be your friend if you use it rationally. Panic is your enemy. Example: consider someone who sold their stock during a small market dip in 2008. They avoided temporary losses but missed the recovery that followed. Meanwhile, investors who held on and bought undervalued assets experienced substantial long-term gains. Emotional discipline directly translates to financial outcomes. Control your impulses, avoid hype, protect your principle, and make decisions based on rational analysis, not fear. Fear used wisely can guide smart, profitable actions. Fear used poorly destroys wealth. Let's bust the myths that keep people from starting to invest. These misconceptions sound logical, but they are traps that cost you time, money, and opportunity. False. You don't need 10,000 or 100,000. Even 100 invested wisely can be more powerful than 100,000 invested recklessly. The key is consistency, strategy, and patience, not the initial amount. Story: one of my first investors started with 50. Every month he added a small sum, invested carefully, and never panicked. 30 years later, that small habit had grown into significant wealth, far exceeding the outcome of someone who waited to start big. Waiting for the perfect moment is the easiest way to remain stuck. False again. Many beginners equate high returns with excitement, volatile stocks, speculative crypto, or get-rich-quick schemes. While these may occasionally work, they usually end in financial pain. True investors earn steady returns over time through disciplined, rational investments, not luck or speculation. Example: one investor I know avoided flashy trends and focused on proven businesses. His growth was consistent and compounding, producing far better results than anyone chasing hype or risky bets. High returns come from knowledge, patience, and discipline, not headlines. Wrong. If you can read, you can invest. Complexity doesn't create wealth. Discipline and consistency do. You don't need complex formulas or insider knowledge. Focus on businesses you understand, avoid mistakes, and stay consistent. Simplicity beats sophistication every time. Example: buying a low-cost index fund, holding it for decades, and reinvesting dividends has produced more millionaires than any risky, complex strategy ever could. Complexity often masks poor decision-making. Simplicity empowers consistency. To simplify investing, I boil it down to 4 essential steps, easy to remember, yet profoundly effective. Understand. Only invest in what you truly comprehend. Knowledge protects your capital and helps you make better decisions. If you don't understand it, walk away. Start small. Even 100 is enough to begin. Don't wait for perfection. Momentum is more important than initial size. Be patient, let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Avoid chasing short-term gains, commit for decades. Stay calm, ignore the noise, control your emotions, and protect your capital. Markets will fluctuate. Your response matters more than the movement. A friend followed this framework meticulously. She started with small amounts in companies she understood, reinvested earnings, and stayed calm during market dips. 25 years later, her portfolio had grown far beyond what she expected. Small, consistent actions executed correctly trumped bold, risky, impulsive decisions. Think of investing like planting an orchard. You don't get fruit immediately. You select the right seeds, understanding. Plant small trees consistently, start small, care for them over years, patience, and protect them from pests and storms. Stay calm. Decades later, you harvest abundant fruit, not because of luck, but because of consistent, intelligent care. This framework works because it removes emotion, focuses on understanding, and leverages time. Follow these steps consistently, and you can build wealth quietly, steadily, and powerfully. By now, you understand that wealth isn't built overnight. It isn't built on hype, luck, or perfection. It's built on small, intelligent choices repeated over decades. And the earlier you start, the more powerful your results. Even modest amounts, 50, 100, a few $100s, can snowball into substantial wealth. The key isn't the size of your investment, it's the consistency, patience, and rationality behind it. Let me be blunt: if you keep waiting for the right moment, it will never come. There is no perfect day, no perfect sum, no perfect strategy waiting for you in the future. Time keeps moving, opportunities slip by, and inflation silently erodes the value of every dollar you don't put to work. I started with almost nothing, no inheritance, no magic formula, no shortcut. Just a few dollars, a willingness to learn, and a stubborn refusal to let fear control me. Step by step, decision by decision, that modest beginning grew into something that lasts and can continue growing for decades. Every financial journey begins with a first step. That 100 in your pocket today could be the foundation for long-term wealth, financial freedom, and a life of options. The sooner you act, the more powerful your results will be. Small, consistent, patient actions repeated over time compound into extraordinary outcomes. A woman I know started with just $50 a month. She wasn't rich. She had a regular job, bills to pay, and doubts about whether her small investments would ever matter. But she stuck to her plan, invested consistently in what she understood, and avoided panic during market dips. 30 years later, her portfolio had grown to over $600,000. Small amounts, carefully invested and compounded, beat perfect timing every time. Contrast that with a young man who waited until he had $10,000 saved before investing. He spent years waiting for the right moment, reading every book and analyzing every market trend. By the time he started, he had lost 5 critical years of compounding. While he eventually did grow wealth, he could have been much further ahead if he had started small and started early. Time is the most powerful force in investing, and waiting wastes it. During the 2008 financial crisis, many investors panicked and sold their holdings at steep losses. One disciplined investor I know ignored the chaos, studied undervalued companies, and invested strategically when prices were low. A few years later, those investments had multiplied many times over. Fear, used wisely, becomes opportunity. Panic, used poorly, becomes disaster. Compounding is often called the eighth wonder of the world. It's the process where your investment earns returns, and those returns earn returns of their own. The effect grows exponentially over time. Even small amounts invested consistently become substantial when compounded over decades. Imagine rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it's tiny, you barely notice it, but as it rolls, it picks up snow, gains size, momentum, and speed. By the time it reaches the bottom, it's massive. That's exactly how investing works when combined with patience and discipline. Patience is underrated. Most beginners look for instant gratification, chasing trends or hype, but time rewards consistency, not impulsiveness. The best investments often feel boring at first: a stable company, an index fund, or a conservative growth strategy. But decades later, those boring choices often outperform flashy, short-term bets. Let's recap the most important lessons from this video. Start small. Even 100 can begin your journey. Don't wait for a windfall. Momentum matters more than initial size. Invest in what you understand. Complexity is dangerous. Simplicity and knowledge protect your capital. Be patient. Wealth grows quietly over time. Short-term volatility is irrelevant if your plan is long-term. Make your money work. Every dollar should have a job. Idle cash loses power. Control fear and impulses. Emotional decisions destroy wealth. Calm, rational actions create opportunity. Consistency beats timing. Regular, disciplined investing beats trying to time the market every time. These aren't just rules, they are habits that successful investors live by. They aren't glamorous, but they work. And they work for anyone, regardless of income, experience, or age. The truth is simple: action matters more than perfection. Start today, even if it's just a small amount. Start with what you have, not what you wish you had. Momentum and compounding will do the rest. Subscribe to this channel if you want more lessons distilled from decades of investing experience. Lessons that cut through the hype and show you what really works. In the next video, we'll explore actionable strategies to grow your wealth step by step without gambling, stress, or shortcuts. Open a small investment account today. Start with a sum you can comfortably invest. Follow the framework. Understand, start small, be patient, and stay calm. Track your progress and learn as you go. Even modest, consistent steps compound into extraordinary results. Your 100 today could be 10,000 or 100,000 or more decades from now. Time, patience, and discipline are far more powerful than money alone. Wealth isn't just about money, it's about freedom. Freedom to choose your path, freedom from stress, and freedom to pursue what matters most. Building wealth isn't reserved for the lucky or rich. It's reserved for the disciplined, the patient, and the informed. Fear and uncertainty are natural, everyone feels them. But the difference between successful investors and everyone else is action. Successful investors take small, consistent steps despite fear. They don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect sum. They act now, they learn, and they improve. Think of every small step you take as a vote for your future self. Every decision, every dollar invested, every lesson learned compounds, not just financially, but in confidence, knowledge, and self-discipline. I want to leave you with one last story. When I was young, I invested small sums in businesses. I understood I made mistakes, lost money, and learned hard lessons. But I never gave up. Over decades, those small, informed choices grew. They didn't make me rich overnight. They didn't feel exciting at first. But over time, they built something that lasts, a foundation for financial independence, stability, and opportunity. Your journey can start the same way. You don't need a fortune. You need discipline, patience, and courage. Start today, even if it's just a small step. That small action, repeated consistently, can change your life forever. Let me repeat this one final time. The smartest move you can make is to start now, no matter how small. Avoid waiting for perfection. Avoid waiting for a windfall. Start with what you have, learn as you go, and trust time. If you want more lessons, stories, and actionable advice distilled from decades of investing, subscribe and follow along. Start small, stay patient, and watch what happens. Your 100 today is the seed of a lifelong journey toward wealth, freedom, and security. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step.